Hi, Rich. I'm going to do a little demonstration of what we worked on today. I'm sure this will help some other dancers too. It's not only the men that I run into this problem with, but also ladies, and trying to learn how to move their weight properly backward and use the standing leg and lower properly. There's a lot of emphasis in sports medicine today in the dance community of separating the legs from the torso so that we're not doing things with our legs that are affecting the hip area. Now, we do have to know how to manipulate that. What we're going to try to do today is separate and understand that crease where the thigh meets the torso so that you're not letting the hips move around and create an instability in the top. The other thing that happens then is you can overbend the knee and underbend the hip, and if they're not balanced, then there can be injuries to the knee and instability. So what we did on our lesson today to find that balance between the hip, the knee, and the ankle was to sit in a chair. We were trying to dance, in this particular case, we were dancing the first step of the big top and trying to find this stable position with the top of the legs closed and with the torso in an integrated part here, straight up and down, and the knee and the hip in the reciprocal bend. And what was happening, I'll use the chair here so I don't hurt my knee, is that hip was popping forward. Now, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this is a big problem for all of our students going into programs. They tend to push the hips through, and this knocks the top line back, creates an instability, and you'll start wobbling there. So when we sat in the chair, if we sat properly into the chair, we were bending at the hip. So that's that crease right there where the thigh moves into the hip. And then sit upright. And then if you look now at the structure, how we're sitting in the chair, this is vertical. Your booty's in the chair, and you have these 90-degree angles. So what's happening then when we were dancing, it would be like me slumping in the chair, letting my hips roll underneath. Now, a lot of people are used to walking around with their hips actually rolled or tucked in like this. And so probably they may be sitting in their chair like that. So in that case, you will have to feel that you're tilting the pelvis. Well, that's a little bit of an anterior tilt or a forward tilt. We get confused about that too and think that that's a forward tilt. The top of the pelvis there is tilting backward. So that's a posterior tilt. So we're going for an anterior tilt just to get that lower spine into extension. So when you're used to that rolling under, this feels like you're in a big arch. So you just want to feel that you're securely in the chair, there's a crease there, and an equal crease there. So now I'm going to work my way. I think we maybe have done this exercise before, where we just sit in the chair with the one leg in that position. So again, I'm not letting my pelvis tilt backwards. I'm keeping the verticality, feeling that. Now you can see that my knee is at a 90-degree angle. So the knee is not going to be out over the foot like this. That's a dangerous place to be in. So when I'm going to press up, and I'm going to use the chair for support just in case I would do anything wrong, and press up from the back ball and the heel of this foot and move straight up, feeling that vertical position. And then I'll come up to about the level that we might be in dancing. And see, I haven't got any rolling around in the pelvis. I'm keeping the pelvis stable. There's a crease there, and there's a crease there. The knee is not in a dangerous position. I do feel a lot going on here because I've got to keep that feeling of this hip up or supported from the floor. And so the quadricep is doing quite a bit of work and also stretching up to this area. Now if I do that on the other side, again, keeping the verticality here of the torso and those 90-degree angles, I'm going to use the back foot to press in the front, the heel and the ball. Stay vertical, go ahead and use the chair. And then find yourself at the different levels where you might dance with weight in between. So what we don't want is that pelvis rolled under like this, or the knees straight when you take your hip back. You want to try to keep that nice and even. Now in the case today, we were doing the first step of the big top. This could be any promenade step, or it could be any movement forward in waltz, where you're moving out and the lowering at the end of 3, and then you'll be commencing to rise at the end of 1. You will pass through that position. If we stay here, we're in a bad position, see? I stuck my leg out ahead of me, my butt went back behind me, and the knee can go into a dangerous position. The opposite, of course, would be just falling forward. So we are lowering and moving at the same time. So the thigh is moving forward, the leg is beginning to swing, the body is moving forward. Now that's actually a whole other lesson, but it helps you to coordinate what we just did in the chair, what we're doing in the standing position into the moving position. More difficult is moving backward. Again, I'm moving my center back as I'm lowering and extending the leg. I don't want to stay here and lean over that leg and stick this leg out. So I think we'll leave that for one video, and I'll do another one talking about how to do the moving forward and back. This is just to get this sense of trying to keep the torso straight and flex where you need to flex evenly between the knee and the hip. And the best thing to do is to find something you do every day, which is sit in a chair and notice the angles, and also notice hopefully that you're not rolling the pelvis like that. If you need to, you can sit in the chair and rock the pelvis. Again, that's in a slight anterior tilt. I'm not trying to go into a sway back. I'm trying to pull the belly back towards the spine and feel that this area is full, but that my pelvis is in the correct position here for me to be able to sit vertically. So what I'll do is take a break here and come back and do another video where we're going to talk about controlling the inside muscles of the legs to maintain your promenade position without getting this wobbling going on in the knees.